Here.
Okay, this is the point on the agenda where members of the public may address the board on matters posted for the special meeting in accordance with Government Code Section 54954.3. The board will provide an opportunity for members of the public to directly address the legislative body concerning any item that has been described in the notice for meeting before or during consideration of that item. Each person wishing to address an item on the meeting notice in closed session will have 2 minutes to do so. Just for the public's information, we have posted item number 6, public employee performance evaluation. As Ms. Lopez, one of our board members, is absent today, that will not occur tonight, but it was posted.
Isn't that interesting? We all come for nothing.
Yeah.
Mrs. Adado?
Oh, I get to go first.
Remember what I told you? If you
Well,
refer to
now
that-
that G6 has been taken off and mine taken off the whole afternoon from work to be here at 4 o'clock, I appreciate, you probably knew Ms. Lopez wasn't going to be here before tonight. Why was it posted on the agenda? I don't understand. Why even waste the time? You know something, you could do things right, but you always choose to do things half-assed.
Ms. Cheers?
I doubt very seriously if Miss Lopez called her travel agent this morning and said, my husband and I would like to go to Alaska today. So my question to you is, why wasn't this changed on board docs? Obviously you knew she wasn't going to be here, so why did you fail to tell the public? Is it because you wanted everybody to show up and then say sorry and hope that they would be so frustrated if they wouldn't come back? Additionally, I have on previous occasions, not only with Mr. Brand, but Mr. Gondra as well, asked for criteria as to how you judge these people, but none has been given. Last but not least, I was contacted by a gentleman in the community. Evidently, Dr. Brand had gone and visited his daughter's classroom. Well, Dr. Brand evidently shared that with Tim Tim. I don't know if Tim Tim is McCann, Cartmill, Brand, or Grossman, but I can take anything. My husband is very protective of his wife and his daughters. My husband asked me to ask you, how could he go about having a nice coffee with Mr. McCann, Mr. Cartmill, Mr. Brand, and Mr. Grossman? Because he did not appreciate the innuendos, the racial innuendos posted on the reader. So when you're considering Dr. Brand's evaluation, whichever one of you he told, there was a positive comment about this gentleman's daughter, but it was a very negative comment about himself and his wife. And for the record, the football player that was mentioned in the article, we know him personally.
Fran Franklin?
I was actually prepared because I didn't really think that we would have, Dr. Brand's evaluation. But I did have a talk with Vince Gianni today about the reader and suggested that we get caught up on our reading, because sometimes when things are so slanderous and so detrimental to people, we say it to you in your faces here, but that was just a little scarless. I mean, I don't mind you calling me a lesbian, but you went a little far with the black and white thing this time, and I had suggested that they, please take a look at it, because if they didn't, it would be something else that we wrote up for our new grand jury, hopefully. Thank you.
Mr. Brickley?
Good evening, Board. Every so often we get together here to kind of discuss the school's business. You guys act on it. We're not making any secrets here. We're bringing a lot of things that don't sit well with the public to your attention. Fran and I were coming here a couple of years ago when there was all kinds of state compliance issues. There were several investigations, some that were, hey, they were into motion by us. Others were actually part of routine. But when you had Dr. Gondra here, you guys would always be doing these evaluations on the superintendent. I guess my question at that time would have been, why do you continue to give a superintendent these great evaluations when you're so out of compliance? You know, hey, he's doing a great job. We're out of compliance. You know, all of these ideas of, children falling far behind and not meeting those requirements, that's something that is happening everywhere. But the idea that you can't even run your programs according to the laws and the regulations of the state and the federal government are really surprising to me, because ultimately the state of these programs really falls in the lap of your superintendent. And yet, I'm holding the latest findings from the state of California that are investigating. They're doing a kind of a random, pick a few schools at random and see how well they're doing. I'm not going to discuss the specifics here, but I would like to read their findings to you. Status does not meet the requirement. Status does not meet the requirement. Status does not meet the requirement. I don't even need to read it. I just need to say that for every page that I turn. Status does not meet the requirement. Who's in charge? This is your superintendent's responsibility to see that this school district is being run in a compliant fashion. And he's about ready to get an evaluation. I think the public has a right to know why that evaluation would be anything more than an unsatisfactory. Thank you.
Kevin O'Neill.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cardinal, members of the board, Dr. Brand. Let me start by saying that it is not lost on me the difficulty and challenges that you have in working with our present board. But in the evaluation, you were supposed to develop a criteria, and although we should never be allowed to see the actual results in your comments, but we should have the criteria going into this meeting. So let me bring to your attention a few things that I think you should consider as you go in. And I'm by no means suggesting that you dismiss Dr. Brand. You did that once, it didn't work out that well with his predecessor. But I will point out to you that Dr. Brand was the direct supervisor and brought Russo to us, the woman who is responsible for the overpayment on the soils by at least $200,000 by my calculation, and who signed this PPA with Mr. Diamond on the asset reutilization. On the fourth reading, I think he can make a good case that it is binding on you based on the earlier action that you did approve that mentions it. I'm not your attorney, but this will be an expensive proposition. Relationship with the community. That MOU regarding adult education has really chilled the air with Southwestern. Why? I mean, it was unnecessary. There was another way to go about it. In fact, the whole adult education brouhaha, you got the money. It was always going to come at some level, and yet you destroy it at his recommendation. Certain falsehoods, the need to adopt campaign reform that I heard Dr. Brand tell you that if you didn't do immediately, it was time sensitive or you're going to be fined. I and others have asked him to prove it out. It hasn't happened. So, and the last is bullying. The phone calls to the other speaker's job.
Amelia Gonzalez.
Sorry.
Yes, hi, my name is Amalia Gonzalez, and I feel that this, I'm Amalia Gonzalez, and I'm instructional assistant for the special education and instructional assistant for East Lake Meadow. And this meeting, I feel that I wasn't given enough time to have another meeting before this. It was a pre-disciplinary meeting, and I was under doctor's care, and I have my note. And I talked to the secretary, Dr. Aubrey, secretary, to let her know that the reason why I couldn't be in the pre-disciplinary meeting. But I guess they didn't give me the time, so I rushed into it, and I'm here. I don't think I'm I'm gonna do my best, but to do it. But I think I'm not ready, but I'm okay. Okay. So the purpose of this letter is for this board, is to know my response to the recommendation being proposed as reason for the state suspension. I would like to take this opportunity to express the situation that I find myself as the result of doing the job that I've been hired to do since 2006. I'm not going to answer every accusation that is being brought as reason for the purpose suspension. There is not enough time to do that, and I will be part of what is already is. One person tells he or she's version, and I try to defend myself. So what I'm going to say is that first of all, I am happy that someone else with authority over the matter can look at the situation, maybe even ask questions or decides to really look at what is the issue that is causing the problem. I find myself in a working environment that no matter how I do the job, one way or another is not the right way, when others in the same position are doing it the same way. Okay.
What I'd like
Yeah.
to suggest is, can
Okay.
you submit that to us so we can make
Got it
copies
right
of it?
The last thing I can't say no more. Nothing anymore? No.
One sentence to wrap up.
Okay, one sentence. What I feel, because the situation that I'm here right now, they come after me and they're being bullying me, and I can really express all my issues that emotionally and medical that happen.
We'll bring this to closed session.
Roberto Rodriguez.
Good afternoon. Roberto Rodriguez, Vice President of SCA. And I usually don't come for closed session, for items for closed session, but today's an important one for me. What we have, I want to talk a little bit about an administrative transfer of a teacher that has been at Montgomery High School for 31 years. With absolutely, his name is Juan Gonzalez, with absolutely stellar evaluations. He's on a 5-year evaluation right now, which principals don't give that unless they feel that there's no problem with the person's teaching. What he is also, other than a good teacher and a great coach, he's a soccer coach and he's still coaching at Montgomery. Other than a great coach and a great teacher, he's also a very good rep for us, a good SCA site rep. And unfortunately, I believe strongly that this administrative transfer is a result of his work as a site rep. There was a recent election to change schedules at Montgomery High. An election was followed according to our contract, and the principal's suggested bell schedule was not adopted. The principal then decided that he was going to ignore that election and have another election during a faculty meeting. Juan did his job as a rep and said, that's not what the contract says, and you can't do that. The faculty agreed with him, and there was no other election. Fast forward a few weeks later, and I'm going to run out of time, but fast forward a few weeks later, and Juan is called into this principal's office and is told, I'm administratively transferring you. When he asked why, the principal only reason was given was, you know why. When I came with Juan to a meeting with Ms. Wessel for HR, he was told that it was for the best interest of our district. And if I can just have a few more seconds, he's being transferred to Hilltop High School, where he's now scheduled to teach psychology and AP psychology, 2 subjects that he has never taught before. Does not have AP training, is within probably 2-3 years of retirement. You know, I believe this is unfair, and how can that be the best interest of the district or our students if he's going in to teach a course that he's never taught before? So I'd like you to for you to ask some questions about this, consider this one during closed session. Thank you.
With no further communication, I will recess the meeting for consideration of the following closed session items as posted on the meeting notice: student expulsions, suspended expulsions, reinstatements, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, conference with labor negotiator, conference with legal counsel, attempted litigation, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, public employee performance evaluation. With that, I'll adjourn the meeting to closed session.
What are we gonna do for 2 damn hours?
Oh, I thought we could all jump in one vehicle and go down to, take a look at, the, planning center. Should we go down and see what's going?
Just like you brought her out of retirement, you're gonna stay, yes?
I got to stay.
Okay. Yeah, no, she predates